Here are my favorite 10 freezer hacks to help your cake decorating. When you're piping with any kind or shape of piping tip, the warmth of your hands will soften the buttercream and your piping will have less definition and more blobbiness. Here's the hack to fix it. Put the piping bag in the freezer and set a timer for 1 minute. Don't leave it any longer or the buttercream will freeze hard against the metal piping tip. After a minute, the buttercream will be firmer and your piping will be neat again. When you've assembled your cake, layering fillings with the cake layers, don't frost it yet. It will be crumbly and wobbly and slide around on the turntable. Instead, put it into the freezer for 15 minutes, or you can use the fridge for 30 minutes. When they're cold, the cake layers will be firm and less crumbly, and the filling will set and hold the layers in place so they don't slide around when you frost them. This first layer of frosting is called a crumb coat, and it will trap any crumbs that come off the cake. But before spreading on the final layer of frosting, you'll need to use the freezer again. Chill the cake in the freezer for another 15 minutes or in the fridge for 30 minutes to set the crumb coat so it's firm instead of soft and sticky. And then when you spread another layer of buttercream on top, this layer will sit on top of the crumb coat, so it won't mix with the crummy buttercream and your final layer of frosting will be crumb-free. This next one is really cool. Pipe flowers onto parchment or wax paper or a silicone mat on a tray. This is a 2D star tip, but you can pipe more elaborate flowers like roses or whatever you like. And then put the tray into the freezer for 5 minutes. When the flowers are frozen, just lift them up and press them onto the frosting on a cake. This also works for metallic decorations. Pipe your buttercream details and then freeze them for 5 minutes before painting them with edible metallic paint, which you can buy or make your own using any clear alcohol or clear vanilla extract mixed with edible gold or silver luster dust. Lift the frozen metallic buttercream details up and attach them to your cake with a dot of fresh buttercream which acts as glue to stick them on. Metallic cake decorations are so eye-catching and fancy. The freezer is an essential step for cake stencils. Whether you're making your own or using store-bought stencils, the cake has to be cold with firm frosting before you wrap a stencil around it. You'll know the cake is ready when you can press your finger against the cake and pull it away without leaving a texture or imprint behind. The pressure of your hands, the stencil, and the buttercream you're spreading over the stencil won't damage the frosting, and when you peel the stencil away, the frosting will be immaculate. This works for character cakes made with layered stencils too, a technique I teach on my cake school. Start a 7-day free trial of my all-you-can-cake membership by clicking the link at the top of the screen or go to britishgirlbakes.com. The freezer makes it possible to create a buttercream design on parchment or wax paper or acetate, and then pick it up and wrap it around a cake, because when you press it against the cake to attach it, it then needs to get cold and firm in the freezer so that when you peel the paper or acetate away, that buttercream will stay behind on the cake with a neat, flat surface. You can create such unique cake designs with this technique, like this mosaic, making edible art on your cakes. Use the freezer in the same way with chocolate, melting it and putting it into a piping bag or a Ziploc bag with a hole cut off one corner, and drizzle it over parchment or wax paper or acetate to make whatever design you like. Pick it up and wrap it around a cake, put it into the freezer for about 15 minutes, and then peel the paper or acetate off, leaving a gravity-defying chocolate design on the cake. Yum! Freezer hack number 8. If you've ever carved a cake, you'll know how difficult it is to do when the cake is crumbly and wobbly. By putting it into the freezer for 15 minutes before you carve, the cake gets firm and much easier to shape. If you don't have space in your freezer, you can use the fridge instead, but you'll need to leave it in there for about twice as long. The freezer will save you if an event is postponed after you've already made the cake. Put it into the freezer for an hour to set the frosting and decorations, and then wrap it in 2 layers of cling film or saran wrap. And then put it back into the freezer. Freeze for a few days or even weeks, and then move it to the fridge to thaw for 24 hours. Take it out 2 hours before serving and unwrap it straight away so that you don't damage the frosting after it warms up and softens. Previously frozen cake tastes just as good as on the day it was baked. I did a blind taste test to confirm. After serving a cake, if there are any slices left over, you can store those in the freezer too. Wrap each slice in cling film or saran wrap and freeze until you have a craving for cake or need a last-minute dessert for a guest. I hope these 10 freezer hacks have been helpful. Subscribe to my channel for a new cake decorating tutorial every week. And visit my cake school on BritishGirlBakes.com to learn hundreds of cake decorating techniques and designs with my online courses and memberships. See you there!